And here for a preview of the Florida Republican primary is Mike Leon, an NTD News contributor who's the Director of Policy and Strategy at the Free and Equal Elections Foundation and also the host of the Can We Please Talk news commentary podcast. Mike, glad you could come in and join us on this important topic right now. It's possible the vote in Florida's GOP primary could reveal the strength of a protest vote towards former President Trump. What are you predicting will happen here?
Well, Kevin, good to see you. Good morning, first and foremost. Florida, I live here in the state and down here in Miami. Some of the bluer dots in the state are Dade, Broward, Palm Beach County. You got Orlando and Tampa, but the rest of the state is really red. And, former President Trump won in 2020, the state of Florida. He won it by over, 400,000 or so votes. I expect, a big turnout for him in the numbers wise. Now, remember, Florida's early voting starts in mid-February, about February 8th. So the primary starts tomorrow on Tuesday. I expect him, to have at least 90% of the vote. I'd be shocked if anybody else comes within 2 to 3 percentage points. Remember, DeSantis is still on the ballot there. But again, like I said, early balloting started, about a month or so ago. But this is a state he's had a stranglehold on, and I'd be shocked if somebody else makes a dent in percentage-wise in the numbers.
Right, yeah, it's important to note, Mike, there, political analyst at the University of Virginia, Miles Coleman, he says if Trump has a weak performance there in Florida, then that could make Democrats prioritize the state a bit more. Is that a wise move for them?
Well, I don't think it's a wise move for them, but I also think it's not going to happen because I think over the last 8 years, if you've noticed, Donald Trump has won the state in 16 and 20. Florida Democrats have been very upset that they haven't been spending money in this state. Used to be a purple state. Barack Obama won the state a few times, but now it's primarily red. And like I mentioned, the biggest focus with Florida is always the bigger bluer dots, but those blue dots have really shrunk. If you look at where I live here in Miami-Dade County, for example, Kev, the numbers for Hillary Clinton in 2016, she won by almost a 60% margin. Donald Trump cut into that President Biden margin because of the Latino vote, the Cuban-American vote, which I'm a part of here in the state of Florida, in Dade County specifically. So I don't think Florida Democrats have prioritized this state. I would think, Democrats nationally haven't prioritized Florida. They've really prioritized other battleground states where they think they can make a dent, like North Carolina or Virginia. So I think in come 2024, I would be shocked if Florida didn't vote for Donald John Trump.
Yeah, and we've seen Trump picking up a little bit of momentum there with black voters as well. What can we learn about the general election from the Republican primary in Florida?
I think nothing, if we're being honest with it, because I think Florida is not indicative of the larger. Remember the 5 states that were really important in the 2020 election. We're all going to be focused on Michigan. You guys mentioned Ohio at the top. Ohio is going to be voting on Tuesday as well, but we're all going to be focused on Michigan, Ohio, Pennsylvania, Arizona, and Georgia. I think we really are not going to learn much unless the numbers for Biden trend upwards. I mentioned in 2020, right, close to, I think 400,000 or so votes the former president won by. If that shrinks a little bit then for Biden, then we could learn something. But I really feel that talking to voters down here, I would be shocked if Donald Trump doesn't win Florida, and I don't think it'll speak anything to those other 5 states where the margins were really, really close in 2020.
But Mike, there's no Democratic primary in Florida, so which numbers were you referring there for Biden?
Oh, I meant on the national side.
Yeah.
Like if 2024, when we get to the general election, like if those numbers, if we're going to learn something from Florida overall, it would be what the margin looks like. Not so much in the blue dots across the state, because Trump won the state by so much in 2020. That's what I mean.
Yeah, and so Mike, where does President Biden and former President Trump need to spend a lot of their time right now?
Well, I think you saw after the State of the Union, right, President Biden was on the road. I think he hit Pennsylvania, if I'm not mistaken. That's where they need to spend most of their time. I think, obviously, the Trump headquarters is down here in Mar-a-Lago, but I think Trump right now is going out there. He's going to visit Arizona. He's going to visit Michigan. You saw when the auto worker strike was happening, both of them were on the ground there. They need to spend most of their time, what Hillary Clinton ignored in 2016, right, which was the Michigans, Ohio's, and Pennsylvania's, Wisconsin's of the world. That's where the real battlegrounds are going to be, because the margins are under, 100,000 or so votes. And again, with what is happening with the economy and the way people are feeling consumer good prices going up year over year, I think both of those guys have outlined trips to Arizona, Michigan, Pennsylvania, Ohio, all in their future.
Yeah, absolutely. And we saw right after the State of the Union, that's where President Biden and former President Trump were right there in Georgia. That was a really neck and neck race there. Mike Leon, NTD News contributor, thank you so much for your time.
Thanks, Kevin.